Hi guys, and welcome back to another championship prediction video. How did we get on last week? Terribly. We got no scores correct, got quite a few results, but we're looking for those scores and we got nothing. Hoping we can do better here. Before we get into my predictions, make sure to hit that like button. Let's try and get to 10 likes. Subscribe to the channel. We have started picking up a bit more momentum. If you see this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps out and it means you will not miss out on another video. And make sure to hit the notification bell too. Always helps. Not many people hit it, but if you don't want to miss a video and you want to be notified when I am doing something, might be going live, might be uploading, make sure to hit that too. Without further ado, let's get into our predictions. And starting off with Friday night's fixture between Luton and Sheffield United. Now these two sides finished in the playoffs last season, but they've both had very different starts. Luton, 4 games in, only scored 1 goal, picked up 2 points, but that 5th game at the weekend, they managed to get a 2-0 win over Swansea. Very, very good result there, but Swansea are struggling, but Luton their first win of the season, so very good from them. Sheffield United, top of the league, won 3, drew 1, lost 1, so only 10 points, top of the league after 5 games with 10 points. It's quite surprising, I think, but they've done well. They beat Blackburn 3-0 last weekend. They look brilliant at home. They very rarely lose there. This is an away game, however, for Sheffield United, but I think they've got the quality. I think Luton is still trying to get into a rhythm, so Sheffield United to pick up all 3 points in a 2-1 win. Saturday's early game sees Sunderland host Norwich. An interesting clash here, as Sunderland only lost 1 of their first 5, managed to get a 1-0 win over Stoke at the weekend. Good result. Did lead to Stoke's manager being sacked, but Sunderland, they've really adapted to life in the Championship very, very well. And I think their home ground, the Stadium of Light, I think it's going to be the 12th man. It's going to bring them a lot of points this season, just that crowd behind them. Norwich started poorly. First 3 games, no wins. They were bottom of the league. But 2 wins in a row over Huddersfield and Millwall make you think they're in a bit of a rhythm. They've got back to the usual Norwich in the Championship. One thing that's making me think that they won't win this, however, is that they've only played 2 away games this season and they've lost both of them. So they could be in a rhythm or they could just be better at home than they are away. And I'm going to go for the latter. I think that they might struggle a bit away, especially at the start of the season, and going to the Stadium of Light is going to be a tough task. So I'm not going to go all out on Sunderland, but I'm going to sit on the fence. 1-1. Blackburn up against Stoke next. And Blackburn, 3 wins in a row. And then they lose 2 in a row, both 3-0. The latest to Sheffield United, the one before that to Reading. They are a bit streaky. I mean, we normally see this with Blackburn, but not normally this early in the season, I wouldn't say. They got those results away, so they seem to not be great on the road. And I'm thinking that now that they're home, they might go back to getting some points. They're up against a Stoke side. Manager O'Neill has just been sacked. They did lose their last game 1-0 to Sunderland. They've won 1 out of their first 5, drawing 1 and losing 3. So a poor start from Stoke, and they have a very good squad really for this level, and they've struggled for years. I'm surprised they've stuck with O'Neill for as long as they have, given the fact that they've had a lot of bottom half finishes in the table in a row. For this one, even though it's going to be a new manager, probably assistant manager, I still think that Blackburn can overcome that bounce. So I'm going to go Blackburn to win it 1-0. Blackpool up against Bristol City next, and this is a difficult one to call, I think, because Blackpool, they've been a bit strange this season. 2 wins, 2 losses, and a 3-3 draw against Burnley where they were 3-1 down. It was brilliant. I didn't expect it to happen, but they are a bit strange because they haven't shown to favour home or away form yet. They're just, they're hard to call. With a new manager being there as well, difficult to call what's going to really happen with Blackpool. They're up against a Bristol City side that hadn't won in their first 3, but they've won 2 in a row, both at home, both 2-0. They're not at home here, but I've got a feeling that Blackpool are now going to have a disappointing game, and Bristol City might actually have found something, because their issue last season was that they were very good up front, but they were very bad defensively. They started the season like it, but 2 clean sheets in a row. Are they starting to defend properly, become more of a unit? And, that attack, Vyman, Semenyo, they are going to get a lot of goals this season. So for me, Bristol City win it 2-1. Up next, Cardiff against Preston. Now Cardiff, doesn't really matter what they've done because they're playing Preston. However, they have managed to win both of their home games this season 1-0. Only picked up 1 point out of their 3 away games. So they are showing that they're going to be better at home than they are away. I know a lot of teams are, but much better at home than they are away. However, it's Preston. Preston's first 5 games, 4 0-0s and a 1-0 win. Yet to concede 1 goal scored in 5 games. Now, if you're a Preston fan that doesn't attend matches, you're loving it, because you just sit there, you look at score updates, you see that you've came up with a point, you're still unbeaten. Great. If you go into the games, although I've heard that they are, that there are attacking spells, Preston v Rotherham, Preston were all over them, they just couldn't score. But you're spending a lot of money to not see any goals. I don't know how much your tickets are, but, not much action, which, great defensively. If they could just find that killer instinct up front, they'd be near the top of the table right now because they can defend. Is it going to continue? Are they going to manage to not concede a goal? Now, with Cardiff winning both their home games, part of me thinks that Cardiff may score, but I do think if Cardiff score, Preston will score. So I'm stuck on a draw here. Don't know whether to go for 1-1 or 0-0, but just to make it more entertaining, let's go for a 0-0. Huddersfield take on West Brom. And Huddersfield, poor start. Only played 4, but 3 losses, 1 win. They seem like they're going to be nowhere near where they were last season. They seem like they're heading for a pretty low finish. But they've got plenty of time to turn it around. West Brom, they really struggled at the start. First 4 games, 3 points, all draws. But their last game might just kickstart their season. A 5-2 victory over Hull. The issue with West Brom wasn't at the back, it was finding the back of the net. And they seem to have found out how to do it against Hull. Now, whether they've saved all their goals up for that match and they're going to go back to not scoring, I'm not sure. But if they can start putting the ball in the back of the net like they did against Hull, I think they'll win this quite comfortably. So West Brom to win it 2-0. Hull up against Coventry. And Hull, they were unbeaten in their first 4, 2 wins, 2 draws. Then they lost 5-2 to West Brom. So, first loss, is that going to lead to a few more? Are they going to enter a bad spell? I'm not sure how to read it. And speaking of not knowing how to read it, Coventry, they've played 2 games, both away, 1 draw against Sunderland, and a loss against Millwall where they were 2-0 up and they lost it 3-2. this is very difficult to call. Now, part of me thinks that Coventry, they've had time to recover, obviously, since their last game. You know, they haven't played much at all. Hull might struggle a bit more after that loss. So I think I'm going down the middle. 1-1. Next, two sides that I expected to be dark horses. And by dark horses, I mean a team to finish in the playoffs without parachute payments. Middlesbrough versus Swansea. But they've both started very, very poorly. Middlesbrough, 3 draws, 2 losses, so yet to get a win on the board. Swansea, 1 win, 2 draws and 2 losses. They're just, they're both really struggling. Swansea in their last match lost it 2-0 to Luton. Luton hadn't yet won a game. Middlesbrough, they lost 1-0 to Reading. Reading are good at home by the looks of it, but if Middlesbrough want to be fighting for the playoffs, that's a game they need to take all 3 points from, really. Are Middlesbrough going to get their first win here? Are Swansea going to take all 3 points? I don't know. I expected so much more of these teams, and they're both really disappointed at the start of the season. I'm going to have to do it down the middle. I hate to sit on the fence so much, but I'm not sure about this one. So down the middle, 1-1. Millwall take on Reading, and my decision here is very easily based on home and away. Millwall, they've only picked up 1 point away out of 3, but they've won both of their home games. Reading won 3 home games, but lost both of their away games. 6 points at home to Millwall versus no points away at Reading. I think I can only go based on that. So I think Millwall will win this. However, Millwall are a team that I don't see too many goals in, and they are good defensively at home, really. So for me, Millwall win it 1-0. Rotherham take on Blues next. Rotherham started well, unbeaten, 1 win, 3 draws. It's a good haul for a newly promoted side that always get relegated when they come up. They're a yo-yo team. You talk about Norwich and Fulham. Rotherham are the yo-yo team between Championship and League One. Blues, so disappointed with our last result. Now, Wigan played, they played well, they stuck to the task. They did exactly what everyone expected them to do when they got a man sent off within the first 10 minutes. Take your striker off, put a defender on, sit behind the ball. And the issue with Blues is, we had 80 minutes there at home against 10 men of Wigan. No offence to Wigan, but one of the weakest squads on paper. They just came up. And we lost it. It's typical Blues to manage to lose that game. And yeah, I just want to try and put it past us, but the way that teams need to play against us, and that red card didn't help us. I think if it was 11 v 11, we would have had a better chance of winning, because the issue with Blues is we cannot break teams down. If you sit behind the ball, we wouldn't score a goal in 180 minutes. It just, we can't break teams down. We have to let the opposition have the ball and hit on the counter-attack. And Wigan were never going to have much of the ball because they didn't want it. They were never going to try and keep possession when we had an extra man. They were just going to try and hit on the counter. And it worked perfectly for them. So very disappointed in Blues from that result. Now we go away. We've struggled away this season so far. A loss against Cardiff, a draw against Luton. We haven't been good away, and I'm going to cling on to hope here. We do have a good record against Rotherham, and I think the most we can get out of this game is a draw, so 1-1. Watford up against QPR, and Watford, they've started okay, unbeaten, 2 wins, 3 draws. In those 5 games, they've scored 4, conceded 2. So, pretty quiet games. They haven't scored more than 1 goal in a game. And, Emmanuel Dennis gone. The last match, Ismail Assar and João Pedro didn't play because they're both linked with moves away. And my prediction at the start of the season was that they would finish outside the playoffs because that front three would go and they wouldn't replace them. Part of me is thinking that could end up being true. And you saw it against Preston, ended 0-0. Now I know Preston haven't conceded so far this season, but when you think of a team like Watford in the Championship, you think of goals. And they just didn't have it. So I'm not sure about Watford at the moment. I think they're going to be quite hard to read while those players are not playing. Obviously Dennis won't play for them again, but the others aren't playing because of links away. QPR, hard to read. They've had such a weird start. They managed to get a 1-1 draw with Rotherham, but that came after a 1-0 loss to Blackpool. Not sure how to call them. I'm just going to favour Watford because they're at home. They have the quality in their squad. They've just came down from the Premier League. So I'm going to go Watford to win it 1-0. And finally, Wigan up against Burnley. Now Wigan, they are unbeaten. They've started very well. Again, all 3 newly promoted sides have started very well. Wigan, 3 draws. Then they got their first win at the weekend against Blues. And yeah, fair play to them. Playing with 10 men for 80 minutes and they managed to get a goal at the end of it. Fair play to Wigan. I mean, Blues were awful, but yeah, very, very good result there. All 3 points, fair play. They're up against a Burnley side that are very, very strange. Now, they've played 5. They haven't won since the opening day. They drew their last game 3-3 with Blackpool after being 3-1 up. They're just so weird. I keep calling for them to win and they keep not winning. And I'm a bit concerned that I should stop backing them as much as I am. However, they're up against the Wigan side. Burnley have just came down from the Premier League. Wigan have just came up from League One. The quality in these teams is very, very different. There's a massive golfing class between these two. So I've got to back Burnley. I can't not. If Wigan manage to get something, fair play. But all logic says, Burnley should win this game. And if they don't, I am a bit worried because I put them to be automatically promoted. And it's still early days, but they don't seem to be able to win a game. If they manage to score 3, they concede 3. And then when they don't score, they keep a clean sheet. And yeah, it's just not started how I thought it would. But I'm going to back them again because I'm stupid. So Burnley to win it 2-1. So those are my predictions for these Championship fixtures. On to round 6 already. It's going quite quickly. And hopefully, I can get some scores right. Blues can actually play well. But I'm not going to get my hopes up. Make sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. And the more subscribers we get, the more likes we get, the more visibility we get. And it opens, it puts me in a great place with YouTube and more people will end up being pulled towards my channel. So yeah, if you enjoy this content, then please make sure you hit the like button. And if you're not already subscribed, it's so helpful. I've been James. And I am praying that Blues can finally get a win. I'm not confident, but up the Blues.